There's a war in Star Wars that most fans have never even heard of. A war that shattered the Jedi, broke the New Republic, and redefined what the Force even was. It's one of the most ambitious, terrifying, and emotionally charged stories ever told in the Star Wars universe. Yet it's been almost erased from memory. This is the story of the Yuuzhan Vong, the invaders from beyond the galaxy. A species that didn't conquer worlds for power or greed, but to purify existence itself. They came from the void beyond the galactic rim, their fleets unlike anything the galaxy had ever seen. They didn't build ships of metal or circuits. Their vessels were alive, organic, pulsating, growing from coral-like tissue and guided by creatures bred for war. Their weapons weren't forged, they were grown, and the most terrifying part, the Jedi couldn't sense them through the Force. To Luke Skywalker and his order, it was as if the invaders didn't exist at all. When the Yuuzhan Vong invasion began, the New Republic dismissed the early warnings. They'd defeated the Empire. They'd survived Thrawn, Palpatine's clones, and countless threats. What could possibly challenge them now? But they were unprepared for an enemy that fought not for conquest, but for faith. The Yuuzhan Vong saw the galaxy as a blasphemy, tainted by technology, weakened by comfort. They believed in gods of pain, sacrifice, and rebirth. In their eyes, every act of suffering brought them closer to divine purity. Their entire culture was built around this idea. Their bodies were covered in ritual scars and piercings, each mark a prayer. They didn't just use tools, they bred them. Armor was made from living symbiotes. Their starships were part animal, part machine, guided by neural tissue. Even their weapons were alive, serpents that spat venom, amphistaffs that coiled and struck like snakes. To the Yuuzhan Vong, technology was heresy. The galaxy's droids, blasters, and starships were insults to their gods, and their mission was to burn it all away, to rebuild the galaxy in their own image, in the flesh of their faith. Their invasion began with terrifying precision. Entire fleets were annihilated before the New Republic even realized what was happening. Planets burned, populations vanished. The Jedi, protectors of peace and life, found themselves powerless. Imagine trying to sense danger through the Force, only to find nothing there. The Yuuzhan Vong were invisible to it. Their presence couldn't be felt. Their intentions couldn't be predicted. They existed outside the energy that binds all life. For the Jedi, it was like fighting ghosts. And for the first time since the fall of the Empire, fear returned to the galaxy. Among the first to fall was Chewbacca. During the invasion of Cernpedal, he gave his life to save Han Solo's son, Anakin. The planet's moon was pulled down from orbit by Yuuzhan Vong gravity weapons, and Chewbacca stayed behind, roaring defiantly as the sky collapsed. It was one of the most shocking and emotional moments in Star Wars history, marking the start of a darker age. The loss shattered Han Solo. It fractured his bond with his family, and it set the tone for the rest of the war. No hero was safe, and no victory came without cost. As the war raged on, the Vong unleashed horrors the galaxy had never imagined. Worlds were reshaped into living hives. Coruscant, the shining capital of the galaxy, was conquered and turned into a monstrous living world of coral and sinew. The city planet was gone. In its place grew Yuuzhan Tar, the reborn homeworld of the Vong's gods. Skyscrapers melted into organic towers. The air itself turned toxic with spores. The heart of the galaxy was now a breathing nightmare. The Jedi fought back, but their connection to the Force seemed weaker than ever. They couldn't sense their enemies, couldn't rely on instinct. Even their lightsabers, symbols of order and precision, felt meaningless against living weapons that could adapt and heal. The galaxy was dying, one world at a time. But within the chaos, a few began to understand their enemy. Jacen Solo, son of Han and Leia, was captured and tortured by the Vong. In his suffering, he began to grasp something no Jedi had before. The Yuuzhan Vong weren't truly outside the Force. They had been severed from it. Through compassion and understanding, Jacen began to bridge that divide. He realized the Vong's pain wasn't just devotion, it was punishment. Their entire species had once been connected to the Force, but were cast out long ago for crimes lost to history. They inflicted pain upon themselves, not out of cruelty, but in an attempt to feel something of the divine they'd been denied. This revelation changed everything. Jacen's empathy, not his power, became the key to ending the war. After 5 years of devastation, countless worlds lost, and billions dead, the war finally reached its end. Jacen helped the Yuuzhan Vong rediscover their connection to life and the Force itself. The invaders surrendered, not through destruction, but through redemption. The war had reshaped the entire galaxy, both physically and spiritually. Luke Skywalker's Jedi were forever changed. The Force was no longer simple light and dark. It was vast, mysterious, and filled with possibilities the Jedi had never imagined. The Yuuzhan Vong reminded the galaxy that even faith twisted by pain could find its way back to balance. The Yuuzhan Vong saga, known as the New Jedi Order, was controversial. Some fans loved its complexity and mature themes. Others thought it strayed too far from the hopeful tone of Star Wars. It was raw, brutal, and deeply philosophical. It challenged everything fans thought they knew about the Force, but no one can deny how bold it was. It expanded Star Wars into something bigger than the eternal battle of Jedi versus Sith. It asked what happens when faith, pain, and destiny collide, and whether redemption is possible, even for those who have lost the light entirely. When Disney took over Star Wars in 2014, the Yuuzhan Vong stories were reclassified as legends. They were erased from canon, left in the shadows of history. But echoes of them remain, in the Force-sensitive mysteries of the unknown regions, in the alien grisk from newer stories, and in the philosophical struggles of characters like Ben Solo and Rey. The spirit of the Yuuzhan Vong, their questions about faith, pain, and purpose, still lingers in Star Wars today. So now that you know the truth, what do you think? Were the Yuuzhan Vong villains beyond redemption, or victims of a punishment even the Force couldn't forgive? Could they return in modern canon? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. And if you love exploring the forgotten corners of Star Wars, its legends, wars, and lost histories, make sure to subscribe and join the archive of lore. Because in a galaxy this vast, even legends can rise again. May the Force and the pain be with you.